Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ghosteas. My name's Natalie.
And I'm Maci. And today we've got a topic that is highly anticipated between the two of us anyway.
One of the most horrifying things in the spiritual world and just in the regular world.
Children. Children are said to be more sensitive to viewing spirits. And we've all heard the stories. Some of us have even experienced it firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Maci's child.
I definitely have.
She's sensitive, I think.
Maybe.
Unless she just has a really good imagination at 2.5.
But we're going to talk about that today. We brought some really freaky stories to you today, actually. It was a little terrifying to do the research on all this.
Very excited.
But enough of our dilly-dallying. Today, our tea is from Celestial Seasonings. It's called Sleepy Time.
Woo!
One I've never had before.
We need it because we are hyper today, and I don't know why. I think it's just because I haven't seen you in 6 years.
That's true.
But let's try it. I'm not a big fan. It kind of tastes like spearmint gum.
Yeah.
I think it might grow on me, but I have like 8 sugar cubes in there right now, so
Kind of cancels out the sleepy time.
yeah, but it's I don't know. I'm more of a fan. I'm more of a fan of like a black tea. I like black tea. That's my favorite. So I don't know how I feel.
It's an herbal tea, so
It's interesting.
definitely different.
Yeah.
But I don't mind it, honestly. I don't mind it. It'll grow on you.
Yeah. It's not bad.
So we've all known or at least heard of a small child who has seen a ghost or spirit of some kind. I've read countless articles of people going to their mom groups and putting the question out there, like on Facebook and stuff, and just get inundated with people's responses to, my kid has definitely seen something. It's just story after story. One writer for the Washington Post, her name was Rosemary Counter, put it so eloquently as to say, "Children are spooky little creeps who see ghosts, report past lives, and chat at night with dead relatives." And I think that sums it up.
Oh, yeah, that's really funny.
Well, this is exactly what I wanted to bring to you today. Of course, we'll have the little bits of information that we learned, or I learned. But I
will be learning.
You will be learning. But I mostly wanted this episode to just creep you out. And y'all out too. So.
I think those are my favorite. Like, I like to learn, but I don't know if everybody else likes to learn. Y'all can correct me if we're wrong.
Yeah,
if I'm wrong.
Let us know.
I like to learn because I don't know a whole lot, but I think the spooky stories are kind of like more entertaining. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
excited. And I'm entertained here. So
let's get to it. My 3-year-old came to my bedroom door and told me, "You're not alone in there," and then walked away.
that sounds like something that your kid would say.
I
could see her saying that.
would throw up.
I could see her saying that. But in her nice voice, "You're not alone in there." And then just walking around like, la la
And
la,
when you
la.
ask what, she'd just be like,
Just smile. Oh my God, that's scary. Is that the whole story?
"Yeah, that's it." I have a few of these little
Oh
ones, so I'm starting out with the little ones.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
You're
there's
not
no
alone in
explanation.
there?
That just walked away too.
It could be comforting, but also the worst thing to ever hear. Like, "Oh, I'm not alone." But what do you mean by that?
Yeah, who's with me?
Oh, that's creepy.
All depends on who's with me.
That's creepy.
At 5, my daughter randomly said, "We took revenge and revenge took us." We were just minding our own business eating lunch at Chick-fil-A.
Okay, I feel like she could have seen that in a movie or something.
Maybe, but that kind of touches on the past lives, which we won't go too far into past lives because children will see that kind of stuff everywhere. Or because children say that kind of stuff all the time. We want to do a whole another episode on that coming very soon.
Oh, that one's going to be I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, but that I had to throw that one in there. That one made me chuckle. My 3-year-old son was softly singing while he was coloring. I stopped to listen, but I had never heard the song before. I asked where he learned it, and he said, "The lady in my bedroom sang it to me."
I would move.
At age 5, my child asked, "What will happen to me when you all die in the fire?"
In the fire? At
Yeah.
first, when you said when you all die, I was like, oh, that's just sad. Maybe they like had a relative die and they start thinking, but in the fire?
No, specifically. Everyone will die in the fire except me. Yeah, I didn't like that one at all.
Dark. That's so dark.
One day, I overheard my daughter, who was alone in the playroom, say to someone, "Okay, I'll draw you, but I need to find the red. You have blood in your hair." That one would get me to my core.
I have no comment.
Okay, let's move on.
Oh my God.
My daughter once told me I couldn't sit somewhere because upside down was sitting there. I asked who that was, and she said, my new friend. I found him out in the rain. When I asked her why he was called upside down, she answered, he has 2 faces. One is right side up, and the other is upside down, and he doesn't like your energy.
No! It kept getting worse. I thought you were going to say like, oh, he was hanging upside down like on the monkey bars or...
No, 2 faces. One on top of the other.
He doesn't like your energy.
Yeah. No.
What do you even do?
All the nopes that ever noped.
Yeah.
Is the quote I came across this week, and it sums up. I wholeheartedly agree.
He doesn't like your energy.
No, he doesn't. Don't make upside down man upset.
Oh my God, that's like the Hat Man. Have you heard of the Hat Man?
No.
If you're watching this, I know that some of you freaks out there know who the Hat Man is.
Hey, don't call them freaks.
I know who the Hat Man is. I'm calling myself that. Apparently, if you take a lot of Benadryl and you're asleep on Benadryl, you see the Hat Man. You don't know who the Hat Man is?
No.
Google the Hat Man.
Internet lore.
Pause the video right now and Google the Hat Man.
I'm pausing the video right now and
you
Googling
don't know
the
who
Hat
the
Man.
Hat Man is?
No.
I saw someone for a Halloween. They dressed up. The girl dressed up as Benadryl, and her husband dressed up as the Hat Man.
So it's just a shadow man in a hat, like an old Western type hat.
But like so many people have seen him, and then if you bring it up, you're like, oh yeah, like you've seen him too. And so many people on the internet are like, so when y'all take Benadryl, y'all see the Hat Man too? You've never...
I'm not deep into the internet.
Come on. Oh my God. I feel like someone watching this knows exactly what I'm talking. If you're watching this, please comment and tell me you know who the Hat Man is. I can't be alone.
Or let us know that you don't and I'm not alone.
Maybe I'm the freak. Maybe it's me.
Okay, that's added to my list. I'm going to go look into that after this for sure.
It's scary.
Keeping it up.
It's really scary.
But as we've mentioned, it's a known thing that there are some kids who are just sensitive and even remain so their entire lives. Cue Long Island Medium and the like. God. There are admittedly lots of reports of kids seeing ghosts, says Jacqueline D. Woolley, a psychology professor who studies children's evaluations and understanding of reality versus the fantastical at the University of Texas.
Interesting.
Though her beliefs are rooted in science and she thinks that there must be logical answers to what children are actually experiencing, even she admits that the sheer volume of stories out there is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I like, with things like that, I always try to rationalize and say, oh, it's this, it's that. But whenever it's so many people, again, like the Hat Man, how do you explain that if so many people are having this experience?
Yeah. There was even an entire show devoted to kids like this on A&E. I don't know if you've ever watched it, called Psychic Kids a while back. It ran for 3 seasons and even had a revival season in 2019. The show followed these kids who had abilities that just couldn't be explained. They could sense presences and receive visions, and in the show, they brought the kids together with other adult psychics that would try to help them understand and figure out how to harness their abilities and show them that they're not alone, basically. It was a really cool show, really interesting concept. I watched a season or 2 when it came out. But
I think I did too, but I didn't know about the newer, like 2019.
Yeah, they brought back a few of the kids from the original season as the adult mentors.
Oh.
So that was pretty cool. I didn't watch that new season, but I read about it. It was cool. Now, nobody truly knows the answer as to why it's so common for children, especially really young children, are able to communicate with the other side. Obviously, if we were able to prove the why, then we would have already proved that ghosts and spirits truly exist, which we believe it does.
I literally just looked dead in the camera like...
We're believers. But unfortunately, there are those in the world who staunchly disagree.
Yeah.
We've all come across those people. Maybe you are one of those people, and that's okay. But there are, of course, some theories. And even if you don't believe in all the things we talk about, even scientists like Woolley agree, saying it's important to never say never because it's the scientific way to be.
Shout out to Justin Bieber.
Okay. After your whole diatribe the other day on Snapchat.
You said never say never.
Some of these theories I find simply fascinating. Sorry, to move on from your JB.
I'm sorry, I'll never move on. Before you tell me all the theories, my theory is that like dogs and like small children and dogs that are sensitive, or animals, I think it's just because they're pure. They're pure,
some people say
sweet, innocent souls, most of them. And I think that when you're like, you don't really have a lot of biases yet, and you're just like you're a blank sheet of paper, like you can see those things and you're more receptive. But as you grow older and you like have beliefs and you're a skeptic and you're like all these things, that's whenever it like kind of shuts off your, I don't know, your third eye. I don't know if that's the right term, but you know what I mean?
Termed different things by different people, but yeah. I mean, that's kind of the gist too of what I'm about to get into, and I'll be fairly brief, as brief as I can be, as who I am. But yeah, that's the general consensus too among people. So some say that children have a greater sense of awareness than most adults do, and this allows them to pick up on things that go unnoticed by adults. So children are like sponges, and they're constantly looking for new stimuli, new things to learn and experience. And maybe it's because when we get older, we learn that the important stimuli, the things in our environment that really matter to our day to day and to get us from point A to B, children are still working that out. So they kind of take in more. So when we're looking straight ahead and tending to whatever tasks in front of us in top of our minds, we don't see the shadow passing by or feel the energy shift in a room. And a child who's still learning what to take in and what to leave by the wayside will see that in the distance, take notice, and be more willing to investigate further, really. There's another theory that children function at a higher and more expanded level of consciousness than adults do. Because we learn to shut everything out and not overload ourselves, we inherently decide that the spiritual part of our realities isn't necessary for regular living, as I kind of mentioned. The idea is that children are still close to the spirit realm, having just been there themselves, and their consciousness hasn't contracted yet. That's the word I'm saying there. Contracted consciousness. So the veil is thinner the closer to the spirit realm you are. So
oh my God.
It applies to elderly as well.
So,
but that leads into the next theory. Some of these really tying together. And that is that, like you think, children have pure and benevolent energy.
Mm-hmm.
So they operate on higher level, like higher vibrations, like the good spirits do. And they're sought after by these spirits to relay messages to you in a comforting way. So they'll go through your children kind of to come to you and talk to you. Yeah, I put like a smile on here because I do not find that comforting.
No, thank you.
Particularly. Some say that they resonate near the angelic realm, and that along with the right state of mind is they're just a beacon to spirits for interacting.
Yeah, kind of freaky, but yeah.
And that is because society hasn't had the chance to tell them what they're experiencing isn't real yet.
Yes.
So they haven't been told that it's all made up and just come to encounters with an open mind and trusting in what they see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's normal to them because they don't know any different.
Yeah. They, from like infancy to like when they're like 5, when they go to school and like people are like, oh, ghosts aren't real. Like, so from infancy to like toddler age, like nobody's told them, if you see this, it's not real. So like that's all they know.
Even beyond toddlers.
Well, yeah, like that's all they know. So like they see it, they probably think you're seeing it too.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's freaky.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's just another part of their day.
Mm-hmm.
With this theory, as psychic medium Blair Robertson puts it, young children don't necessarily have an increased ability, just innocence that allows them to experience spirits without bias or filters.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have no limiting beliefs or blocks, they experience the connections powerfully. Having a personality that's more intuitive and open is actually something that makes a person more likely to endorse paranormal beliefs. There have been several studies that concluded people with personality types that are more open to new experiences and operate on intuition rather than more logic have a higher probability of having or at least being open to the belief in ghosts.
That's me.
An open and intuitive person?
Just operating on my beliefs instead of logic.
Yeah.
At everything. If I feel like I need to quit this job, I'm going to quit this job.
Did you see that video I sent y'all the other day? And it was like, everything's a sign if you're delusional enough. And he's like back in his break room or something. There's a game and it's a question mark. It says quit ? Like to quit the game. And he was just like,
I would, if I saw that and it was the right time at the right day, I'd probably quit that day. I'm not kidding. And
I know you're not.
I'm a little bit crazy, but like.
Delusion.
Yeah. And there's this whole like trend on TikTok of like girls are like, I'm being delulu. And I'm like.
You've been delusional.
I'm genuinely like not in a hee hee ha ha in kind of a scary way.
A little worrying, I'd say.
Yeah. Like it worries the people that care about me.
Okay, not that far. She's not an insane
I'm joking.
person.
No, but like I take everything as a sign.
Yeah.
Almost everything, and I do. And what about it? Like,
live your life, man.
You have any questions?
Do what makes you happy. But being open and intuitive makes sense because children, they're the most open and intuitive people.
Mhm.
They just go on their gut. They are ready to learn and try new things. And they're more likely to admit to an experience involving something or someone that others can't see, especially if they don't know
I was
others
about to
can't
say,
see.
if they don't know that we're not seeing it too. Yeah.
So the final theory is one that I find the most interesting. Many paranormal experts believe that spirits are visually at a range of light waves that are just not typically, like we're not typically capable of being able to see. So like in the UV range,
Mm-hmm.
which starts with UVA at around 350 nanometers to 400 nanometers.
I don't know what any of that means,
Me
to be
neither.
honest.
We, the normal adult eye, can see about 400 to 700. So literally just below and just above our visual range. What do you have to say about this?
Okay.
I could
This
see
is
your brain
something-
working.
I know, because this is something that it's one of those things that has bothered me and will bother me until I die, because I'll never know the answer. How everyone perceives colors or shapes or everything. Like, I'm looking at this and this is purple. To you, you say purple, yeah, too, but what if your purple is my brown?
Yeah.
What if my red is your yellow? Like, it bothers me so bad. I think about it anytime, like, I'm like shopping. I'm like, oh, does this color look good on me? I'm like, well, I think it does, and you think it does, but what if you're seeing pink and I'm seeing blue? It messes with me so bad. Because you don't know what color I'm seeing.
I don't know much about colors and visual range of light, so
But just,
I assume that there are tests and ways that they know this, but I truly don't know.
You'll never see through my eyes.
You're starting to sound a little tinfoil hat.
Sorry,
here.
I just want to know what people see.
You've actually told me this before. I can see your passion. But coming back to children, they're capable of viewing light at 380 nanometers and in certain conditions as low as 310 nanometers. So, could it be possible that they are just viewing something that we can't see because our eyes are no longer capable of doing so?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
I never had either, and that's why I was like, wow, okay, this is definitely something.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So, like, our eyes just develop eventually to, like, a set kind of, like,
Range.
adult human range.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And kids can see just below.
Wow.
Or most kids can see
Mhm.
just below. Under certain conditions, too, it's even lower. So
Wow.
maybe they are. Maybe the spirits are operating on that 310, and we just can't see it. And I guess, I don't know, the adults that can't see them, their eyes are just at a different,
Whoa.
I don't know.
Whoa.
Interesting theory.
Mhm.
Very intriguing theory. But onto some stories. We've both mentioned this on a time or two, even earlier in the episode, but my child has noticed some weird things in my house.
And weird is an understatement, because the things that she has said or done, just because it's so close,
Yeah.
it scares me so bad.
It scares you more than it scares me. I keep a note in my phone of some of the more notable things that have happened around my house. I don't look at it often, so when I was putting this together, I kind of got a little scared. Like I might have blocked some of this out. As I tell you the story, just keep in mind that I never ever talk to my kids about anything paranormal. Like
No.
it's not a topic in our house. My husband is not about that life. I talk to Natalie about it, and I talk to our other sister Kayla about it.
Yeah, because
That's essentially it.
Because it is scary, and I would never want you to plant anything in her mind to scare us even further.
I think it's weird to bring it up. If she came to me and had specific questions, I'll answer them, but I'm not going to be like, could be a ghost.
Did you see anything? No.
I don't. My children know as ghosts is our logo of the ghost. Like just a typical sheet ghost. They're like, oh, ghost. Like that's all they know about ghosts. So
like a Halloween stance.
Yes, a typical Halloween ghost.
Little Miss Tina on the table type of ghost.
This is from my notes. It started out as me hearing noises coming from her closet, but I thought it was just pipes or something. So I'd be in my kitchen, and the way our house is set up, the kitchen wall is right up against her closet wall. So I thought maybe it was just pipes or something loose in her closet, like on a shelf or something was falling or whatever. But I would be cleaning up in the kitchen after they go to bed, and I'd hear movement. I'd check the monitor just to see if anything was like she was moving or anything, and everything would be normal.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, I would be in my kitchen wiping down counters and hear like movement in
like
her closet.
The hangers moving, or just like a sound?
Just a sound. But then when she was a baby, I don't remember how old she was, but probably about 6 months old, maybe younger, I was getting her ready for bed and putting her pajamas on. And she leaned in and gave me a hug. And I was like, "Aw, hugs." And then she leaned forward, facing her closet, leaned forward, and like she was giving her closet a hug. And I literally was just like, "Okay. Okay." And I like picked her up and we walked out of her room for a little while. But that's kind of the beginnings here.
Yeah, because she would go in to hug whoever was in the room, like, "Okay, good night hugs, good night hugs." And she was giving good night hugs to whoever
Or
was
whatever.
in her closet. Oh, God.
Yeah, to her closet.
Forgot about that one. I knew about that.
So then she gets a little older. She was a little maybe beyond 1. I don't remember. She was walking. And she ran by the door to her room. She was playing around and was running around the couch. And she ran past the door to her room and just screamed and took off running around to where I was sitting on the couch.
And she's not the type of baby to just scream. She is now. She wouldn't just scream. Like, she was very quiet, didn't really say much. Like, if she would tell you when she wanted milk or to leave her alone. Yeah. She didn't walk around screaming or talking, really.
She was quiet. She was just like running around, like laughing to herself, whatever, playing as babies do. Ran by, screamed, ran to me, and told me that she was scared and looked back at her room. And I said, "You're scared?" And she was like shaking her head. And I was like, "Okay, well, why are you scared?" And she pointed to her room and said, "Nana," which is what she calls Nadoly.
Me!
Nana.
She saw me!
Nadoly was not in our house. She was nowhere near my house.
No, I was driving and Maci called me and said, "Are you in my house?"
Yeah, no.
I said, "I'm on the road."
She was not in my house. And so she said that, and then she giggled and ran away like nothing had ever happened. And I was just petrified on my couch alone, just like, what do I do now?
No, and the thing that got me about that, and what's so scary, my hair is short now, but I've always, my entire life, had hair down to my butt, like long hair. And I've always been like on the skinnier, like slimmer side. I'm tall, skinny with long hair. And she saw, quote unquote, me in her closet. And I don't know, something about a tall, slender, long-haired woman is horrifying to me. And at that time, I had long hair. So it's just like, what do you mean you saw me? Oh, it makes me sick.
Yeah, it really got me. And
because that paints
I'm
a
about
picture.
to sweat right now.
I'm sweating
honestly.
right now. That paints a picture for me, and I didn't want the picture.
No. So moving on from that, a little more time has passed, and she was laying in her room, and I was changing her clothes in the morning, and she looks over to her closet door, smiled, waved, and whispered, "Hi." And I was, again, it was just her and I in the house. No one was there. And I like stopped what I was doing and I looked over at the closet, trying not to freak out because I have to be the adult. I am the only adult and just terrified. So I asked her who she's talking to. I was like, "Who are you saying hi to?" And she just looked at me and just kind of smiled and didn't answer. Didn't say anything.
That just made me I just got so nauseous because I'm just imagining someone in her closet like,
"Oh, why would you do that?" That just made my stomach turn over.
As you were saying it, I got really sick. I got hot.
Okay.
I just got dizzy.
Well, then I told her to come to the living room with me because I was freaked out. I did not want to be in that room anymore. And she came out and then ran back into her room and shut the door. So I was like, maybe she's playing. I don't know. So I opened the door and she's standing in front of her closet and said, "What you doing?" To her closet. To her closet.
I'm gonna throw up.
When she saw me, she like jumped and just smiled and turned around and started playing, like walked out. This is some of the stuff that I forgot. And while I was putting this together, I was like, I need to get an exorcist.
Me too. I forgot. And there's so many. It's sickening.
Yeah, we're still going here.
Oh no.
So I walked into her room one morning and I hadn't heard her make a noise yet and was just checking on her to see if she was still asleep, if I could, go about my business in the morning. And she was standing in front of her closet with the door open. And I made sure to shut it that night before. I shut her closet every night now because it freaks me out personally. And she was just standing there, not saying or doing anything, just staring into her closet. And when she heard me walk through the door, she just slightly turned and looked at me and then darted her eyes at the closet and then turned back and walked away.
Oh my God.
I'm
not going to your house anymore. I'm scared.
I might not go back.
I'm scared.
Here's another note. I don't know when this happened because literally when I put these into my phone, I just jot them down in my sheer terror just so I can remember them, where she is in her room and she said, "It's going to get me." I said, "What's going to get you?" And she covered her mouth and said, "I don't know its name." I forgot about
When did
this one too. I don't know. This is one of the ones that I just
Macy!
completely blocked out.
Maci!
Yeah, but I have it written down, so.
I'm not even kidding anymore.
Then I was walking out of her room one night, and she said, somebody's grabbing me, and wouldn't answer when I asked what was grabbing her. I ask, what is grabbing you? Because I'm not going to be like, who's there? No, I say, what is grabbing you? So I was also alone at that point too, and was just, I like called everybody.
You told me that, but I don't know its name.
Yeah, she said that.
I am so sick to my stomach right now. She's not like a big talker. Like she doesn't like just, I don't know, she wouldn't be like a storyteller.
No.
Like I feel like when your
especially
son gets older.
Especially not then. She's more so now, but this was like all
that's
around.
just not her personality though.
No.
It's like,
and she'll tell you straight up. Like if she's playing with something, she's like, oh, I have like a treat or whatever. Yes. I'll be like, oh, good. She's like, oh, it's just a pretend treat. Like she says it's pretend. And she did not. She just said, I don't know its name. Well, then she opens the door one day and sat down on her couch. And she has like this little puffy couch in her room. And she started whining and said, Mama, please get me safe. I'm sad. At night. This was nighttime.
That's the end of the episode. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. I'm frightened and I'm done. Thank you. Oh my God.
I know. It started kind of spreading throughout the house too. So I don't know if this is all connected, and maybe it's not, but I thought I would put this in here anyway. So one day, the kids were sleeping, and I don't remember what I was doing. I was in the house, and I hear a loud bang come from a room at the front of the house. So I go to check it out, and there was a picture frame that I had leaned up against the wall. It wasn't hanging up. It was just kind of leaned up that I was going to put up, and it had fallen face down, like in the middle of my floor. Like it just like it had shot out to the middle of the floor. I think I told you that before. I hadn't told you?
No. I thought I told you to tell me.
Okay, I won't tell you anymore.
You're going to call me like in a month and be like, hey, me and Jake want to go to the movies. Can you come stay at my house? The kids are asleep. And I'm going to say no.
Okay. I don't blame you, honestly.
I'm sick. Oh my God.
Well, I have told you this one, and also don't know how this is, or if this is even connected, and has nothing to do with kids, but I thought I'd throw it in there too.
After our personal episode, this is you.
Okay, it might be.
You're doing this.
It might be, but not on purpose. So Jake was laying in the living room, and it was kind of dozing off, and he swore that he heard me. I was in a different room. Try to wake him up. Like, hey, wake up. And he like opened his eyes, and I wasn't there, and I came in, he's like, what? Why'd you wake me up? I was going to sleep. And I was like, I have not been in here. I've been in the other room this whole time. So again, don't know if it's related, but it definitely happened.
I feel like I'm about to cry.
And again, he is a skeptic. He's a complete skeptic.
He doesn't believe in this stuff.
No. This is the last thing that has happened, and it was kind of recent. It was like maybe a month ago. She ran out of her playroom at the front of the house and was like screaming, like scared. And she said the wall was trying to get her trampoline. She had like this little trampoline. And I was like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. A little while later, they were playing in the living room. I swear, I heard like giggling from the other room, like playing, laughing in the other room. And maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But all of it together just, really creeps me out.
Again. That's a wrap.
Okay.
I don't need to hear anymore. I mean, I'll let you finish because I know you did research.
Well, most of it's just stories going forward.
I can handle when it's someone I don't know because there's kind of a hint of like they could be making this up. And people watching right now, y'all, you could say the same thing because it's you don't know Maci. You can be like, okay, she's making this up because she has a ghost podcast. Duh. Like, why would you not want to come up with stories? But I don't have stories. No. I'm not making this up. Maybe I'm experiencing reality differently. I'm sick.
But I'm not making this up. And
no, because
my kid really came to me telling me these things too.
Before we even had an idea to like talk about ghosts or do a ghost podcast or do anything, you called me. I was driving on the highway and you said, "Are you in my house?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And you're like, "Are you in my house?" And I said, "No, Maci, I'm driving on the road. Why?" And then you told me that whatever second or third story that you just told about seeing me in her room.
Like on the verge of tears.
She called me because she was scared. And oh my God, I didn't know a few of these. So like the ones I knew, like they didn't scare me as bad, but the waving, because it's a visual
still to my core.
Like is someone standing in her closet going like,
which we haven't had any closet incidences
so
in a
sick.
while. So that could be over. That could have, I don't know. It could have been many things, but I don't know. I'm not scared all the time or anything. Like, my house doesn't give off bad vibes.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't feel scary. I don't like going in the room just because I know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep you updated if anything else happens. Let me know if y'all have any theories or anything of what this could be.
I'm
because
unwell.
I'm so sorry. Do you want me to continue?
No, but
Okay.
if you must.
The show must go on.
This tea's growing on me, by the way.
I knew it
I
would.
kinda like
I
it.
knew it would. Okay, we'll go to our next story. My son was around 2 at the time. We were driving past the cemetery when he said, "Look, Mama, dead people." "Yes, darling," I responded. "Kids," he continued matter-of-factly. And sure enough, we were passing by the children's section. Curious, I asked if the kids were happy or sad. "Happy, Mama," he said. "They're running around that daddy." All I saw was a man standing alone with his head dropped. It warmed my heart, honestly.
That's really cute.
It
But
was
so
really sweet.
sad. I am so conflicted because, like, if they're not acting scared, it's just like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like, I don't want anything. I don't want anything to be there. Good, bad, neutral. I don't want anything
Yeah.
at all. If my dogs start barking in the middle of the night, I'm like, no, no, no.
And that leads in because
Oh.
pets are known to react to activity
yeah.
too. And I've got a little story here too.
And before you tell it, I just have to say, if you watched our Halloween episode and we talked about the Day of the Dead, I had never known, what is it, a frienda? After that video, I had never heard about that, but I learned during the video. And then on TikTok, I saw so many pets
Yeah.
sitting at the bottom, like sitting at the ofrendas, like just looking up, and some of them even whining or wagging their tails. And I just,
So sweet.
I was up late last night crying to those videos.
I'm so
It was so, so pets, I know pets are sensitive to things like that, and it just makes me I just cry.
This one says, "Once my little sister told me there was a monster in her room, so I checked under her bed and assured her she was safe. But then she pointed at a blank spot on the wall and said, 'Then why is there a man in the wall looking at us?' And to make matters worse, our usually very calm dog suddenly started barking and growling at that very spot and continued to do so every time he went in her room after that. I didn't sleep for weeks."
In the wall? That is unsettling.
Yeah, I didn't like that one very much, but
No.
I had to throw it in because it was creepy. But there's always a skeptic. We talked about that. My husband is one of them. And they usually have some good reasons to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't know, there are scientists and researchers whose entire job is to study kids' imaginations. One being Dr. Woolley, who we mentioned earlier. She's more in the camp that children, or at least children over the age of 3, are fully capable of being able to tell the difference between the real and imaginary, but doesn't think ghosts fall into the real category. The spirits that children are interacting with are simply figments of the imagination that the children are used to continue on their learning through play journey in her mind. Children begin developing the skills that pertain to imaginative play and even begin having more vivid dreams at around 2, when their speech is beginning to develop as well. So maybe this could explain some of the things they're seeing. So it's not real to them, it's their imaginative play.
But how is their imagination like that vivid? Like they see the things. Like I can imagine things, I see it in my head, but if I'm thinking about something, I see it in my head. I'm not looking over at that wall going, hi, like,
Well, same
hello,
thing with
thing.
imaginary friends. So I don't
But-
know how it works really.
There could be something to be said about imaginary friends. Like, what are they?
Yeah.
But we don't even need to
That's
talk
a whole-
about that.
She says our minds naturally make connections between events, whether they're connected or not. So the brain pays attention to evidence that fits our theory and ignores the evidence that doesn't fit it. So children are able to connect things they don't quite understand and make sense of them if it was a product of their imaginary friend or the ghost, basically.
Mm.
While an adult might dismiss something they see quickly out of the corner of their eye as nothing or have a reality-based explanation, children might insist they saw a ghost or a fairy or something, some other creature, says Dr. Angela Sante.
Yeah, but what if they don't know what ghosts or fairies are? And they just see, oh, I saw a person. I see what they're saying, though. I get it.
Yeah, that's their theory, or one of their theories.
Yeah,
So,
and-
like, if a humanoid shaped shadow passes through their room from a car outside at night,
Yeah.
they haven't been able to make that connection that a passing car casts a shadow in the room. So it's just a little girl wanting to play in their mind,
Okay.
and so on.
Okay. I mean, I could see that for, like, probably 20% of the stories that people are telling. It's like the kid's
Yeah.
like, I saw a man, and it was just the tree moving in the wind. So I get that. That makes sense to me.
This makes even more sense when you couple that with the fact that between a third and 2/3 of children will have an imaginary companion at some point in early childhood. But there are some people who just can't get behind the idea that all children can tell what's real and what's fantasy. So, one being psychologist Charles Fernahoff, who investigates the phenomenon of hallucinations at Durham University. He believes that on occasion, kids do mix up imagination and reality to have something like a hallucination-like experience.
Okay.
There's also the idea that ghost sightings have to do with culture that a child is brought up in. So if the child is raised in a household that discusses the supernatural, then it's more likely that the child will identify their experiences in that frame of reference.
The thing with that is you've never mentioned something like that to your child.
Yeah.
Y'all don't talk about that. So explain her.
And maybe it's a mix of all of these. But it is interesting when you frame it this way, because a 2022 survey found that nearly half of Americans believe their house is haunted. So when you couple it with these experiences, then it kind of starts to make sense and piece together.
How many? You said 50?
Nearly half, yeah.
Oh my God.
The most being Gen Z.
Oh.
And the least likely to, or at least admit their house is haunted, being baby boomers. So maybe it's just something children are hearing more often, and their parents and relatives are more accepting of this notion. And of course, we believe scientists, okay? And they've dedicated their whole lives, their careers to studying this sort of behavior in children. As a believer in the spirit realm, I have to refute it in some way.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the first one to say, like, I'm even more on the skeptical side than you are, obviously. But, like, I mean, look, until you tell me all these things, and I'm like, oh, what if?
Yeah.
I believe science first. That's my whole way my brain works. But, like, when it's a personal story, like, I know you. I know your children. It's so scary, and it's so real to me. And there's, to me, like, what is the scientific explanation? There isn't one, because it's not like you're egging her on. I'm sorry. I keep going back to that. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm trying to rationalize.
I'm trying to like push that back down into the depths of my memory so I can go home and sleep tonight.
I'm going to be thinking about it forever.
So moving back to this so I can stop talking about my home. There are countless stories of children knowing information about a particular person or location that just cannot be explained away. So it cannot be explained by all of these science work, okay? On my way home from work, my 3-year-old daughter in the back seat, we'd pass a very old cemetery every day. She used to tell me the people in there were waving to her. I would tell her there's nobody there, and I explained what a cemetery was. She was adamant she saw people, and a school and a store, and they'd wave to her. This went on for several months, and every day she'd tell me. I was telling this to a coworker who lived in the area and was a history buff, and told me the area was actually the site of where soldiers fought in the war, and they were buried there. They also made a tiny town for a small time, and there was a school and a little store, and some people lived there. If that wasn't enough to freak me out, one day driving past, my daughter told me a lady in there wanted her to come in. I found a different route home after that.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. I don't like the idea of any type of spirits or anything like beckoning to a child, like,
oh yeah. Jim B. Tucker is balancing science and the paranormal at the Division of Perceptual Studies at the University of Virginia. He says, we don't take the approach of believer or non-believer. We research and explore the phenomenon of children who report past lives, he says. So that's a cool area of study. Overlapping often are reports of kids who see dead relatives, including some who were dead long before the child was born. Family members who have passed on that still linger to give a message to their loved ones, and using children who, as we said earlier, are just more open to all of this, to let them know they love them and are still around for them. It's a really common experience.
I feel like I keep getting off topic, but Teresa Caputo was talking about how when she was young, like 4 years old or something like that, she used to see this woman stand at the end of her bed like all the time, every night. She didn't know who she was, but she was just this random woman. She didn't seem mean or anything. She just stood there and watched. Years later, she was at her grandma's house and she was looking at photo albums. She turned to her grandma. She's like, who is this woman? And the grandma's like, oh, that's my mom. And she's like, no, this is the lady I see in my room every night.
That is terrifying and also sweet.
It's sweet to me because like she said, like she's like, it didn't feel
malevolent.
Yeah, it was just that woman stood and watched her.
Well, there are a lot of stories like that, really. My husband's father passed away several years before my son was born. He died from the flu, and my husband had always felt guilty because he had been the one to share the sickness with him. We never talked to our son about his grandpa, but one morning he woke and said point blank, "Daddy, Papa Don wanted me to tell you he's doing fine. We asked him to describe his grandpa, and he did so to a T, despite never having seen a photo of him. He said he was standing by a fast car with a cloud of smoke around him. This made perfect sense because my father-in-law raced sports cars and smoked heavily all his life.
Oh my God.
My husband's grandmother, ma mère, absolutely adored our first daughter. She passed away when our daughter was just 9 months old, so our daughter doesn't remember her. But a few years after she died, our daughter started talking about a babysitter who took care of her at night. We didn't really think of anything of it until one day when we saw a picture in a baby book of ma mère holding her, and she yelled, "That's my babysitter. She visits me every night."
That's really sweet.
Really sweet. So some naysayers will tell you that these children are only repeating things that they've heard before. That even if you don't think your children are listening, they definitely are.
Mhm.
And that's true. I can attest to this. They're always listening. No matter how far away they are, they can hear you. But sometimes kids will say things that there's just no possible way they could have known this information. Like this story. When my sister was 4 years old, she was babysat by a family friend who lost her husband, Paul, suddenly before my sister was born. My sister had never heard about him before, but one day our baby sister heard my sister laughing and playing alone in the basement playroom. She called out to my sister and asked who she was talking to. So my sister came upstairs and said, "Paul was downstairs. He says hi and that he's okay." And this is just a baby. Like, it's not like she's there talking about her husband all the time. Like, she's just there to babysit. So she could not have known about Paul. So we talked about how the likelihood of a kid having an imaginary friend is fairly high, like a third to 2/3 of children. One thing that most researchers who delve into the child's imagination always say when your child comes to you with these kind of things, you shouldn't immediately tell your child that what they're experiencing isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
You should ask them questions about it and just be open with talking to them, whether you're a believer or not. But what if you really, really don't want to talk about it? What if the stories that you're being told are the ones like I'm about to tell you that you'd rather just forget happened? Or like the one that
like every
happened to me?
story you just told me about your child? Yeah.
When my daughter was about 18 months old, we moved into an apartment building that was almost 100 years old. Well, one day my daughter was playing and singing Ring Around the Rosie, which, side note, already kind of a creepy song. When she stopped dead in her tracks, pointed to the corner of the room and yelled, "Mommy, pick me up." After that, she would refuse to go into any room alone.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that just gave me chills in my whole body.
Me too.
"Why are you crying?" "Bad man." "What bad man?" "There." Points behind me at a dark corner of the room. Lamp on bookshelf next to said darkened corner falls off as soon as I turn to look. She slept in our bed that night.
I wouldn't be sleeping in my bed that night. Leave.
Just pack up the car, kids. We're
Let's
going.
Leave.
I've got a couple more stories for you, and they only get creepier.
Great. Having a great time.
Sorry. I hope everyone else is too. I am.
I'm not.
Okay. So yeah, 2 more stories. Let's go. My 4-year-old son and I were waiting for our food at Panera. While we stood there, he started rubbing my belly and talking to it. I asked him what he was doing. He said that he was talking to the baby. I informed him that I was not pregnant, and he said, "There is a baby in your belly. I just saw it crawl across the floor and climb up into you." Oh, okay. I could hardly finish that one.
No!
My heart is racing right now.
Oh, that's one that made me sick. I just got sick. Crawl across the floor and into your stomach.
Yeah. Well, let's leave you with a really scary one, or one that scared me the most, really. When I was a teenager, I used to babysit my cousin Alyssa. She was really young, maybe around 2 to 3 years old at the time. I was giving her a bath before bed when she looked out the bathroom into the hallway and got a terrified look on her face and started crying. At this moment, my aunt's Pomeranian starts going nuts as well, barking and growling into the hallway. The atmosphere in the room became uncomfortable, and I started getting scared. I took her downstairs from the 3rd floor in the townhouse to try and calm her down. I asked her what was wrong, and she said something along the lines of, "The man with the black eyes was there." When I continued to pry, she looked up at the 2nd floor stairs, her eyes getting big, and looked at me, bringing her finger to her mouth and said, "Shh," while shaking her head no.
No. Is that it?
That's it.
No. I just got tears. Oh my God.
That was the scariest one for me.
I just felt my heart start beating fast. That's really scary.
Yeah.
That's like a warning.
She's like,
"Don't talk about him."
Just stop talking about it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so uncomfortable.
that one really got me. But yeah, so as you can see, many. This is just only part of them. I have a few more for you, but they're not as scary. I couldn't fit them all in here. We would be talking for hours.
We've already been talking for hours.
We've already been talking for a long time, but
Can't get it together.
kids can see something. Let us know. Let us know down in the comments if you've ever experienced anything like this or what you believe it could be. Because I'm really interested to know what other people think.
I
But
just felt like I rode a roller coaster. My heart hurts.
we
I don't
laughed,
even
we cried, we were terrified. That's all we got, folks. We really appreciate you taking the time. We're ready for this sleepy time tea to do its work. I'm ready to go to bed. So don't forget to rate if Natalie can even sleep tonight. Don't forget to rate and review if you're listening on podcast. We'd love to hear what you think. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like this video, comment down below. Again, let us know. Let us know what you think of this episode. Let us know if you've ever had any experience with kids and ghosts.
No, just kids. Do you have any kids?
Just children in general. Hey, we want to know that too. Share the video if you feel compelled to do so. And follow us on Instagram at Ghosteas Pod. We're also on Facebook too, if you want to head on over there. If you have any creepy or supernatural encounters of your own, we'd love to hear them. You can send us a DM or you can email us at ghostiespod@gmail.com. Natalie, are you going to make it?
No.
Maybe you'll hear your story in a future episode.
Okay.
If Natalie can make it there.
I'm scared.
We're so excited for you to be going on this adventure with us, and we will see you next Monday.
Bye.
Bye, guys.